Welcome back to our series, our eviction series, the nightmares of real estate investing, the nightmares of being a landlord, and the nightmares of going into rental real estate. So please, I hope you enjoy part 1. But before I dive into part 2, go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's dive into it. Allow me to lay out the foundation of part 2. Just so you understand a little bit the framework. So by this point, she already had rented from us for about 2 months and change. Let's just call it 2 months. And in our lease, the lease is a monthly lease. I explain to you why later on. And in the lease, it also states that we will conduct inspections every quarter. Inspections are designed to protect the property primarily, so you can address issues before they become big issues. But inspections are also there to protect the tenant, to give a quality of life to the tenant, and also allows the tenant to be able to address situations that they've forgotten to address. Now to go back why the lease is monthly. It's monthly because her tenancy started during around the end of the CDC eviction moratorium, which covers and prevents eviction based on non-payment. Now remember, we are people, we're human, we're nice people, but we're not stupid. This is an investment property and we needed to plan out an exit strategy. We understood what the field was. We understood what the climate was. And we understood very clearly that we were going to enter into tenancy, and we had this eviction moratorium who hasn't really stopped and didn't show any signs of stopping. So we needed to have a contingency plan for that. And that was a monthly tenancy. It's because the eviction moratorium does not protect you from non-renewal of lease. She was in there for about 2 months, and it's time for the quarterly inspection. And so we sent her a 24-hour notice. It was like 3-day notice, yo. It was like, anyway. But this is her talking to my sister, 4:28 p.m., June 11th. Let's dive into it. All right. My adopted mother isn't doing well, and I'm extremely overwhelmed right now. Okay, perfect. It's a pandemic. We all are. Sorry to hear. What is the reason for the inspection? This was like something we were like, what the hell is she talking about? She signed the lease. And when she signed the lease, we went over the details of the lease, and we also went over the fact that, hey, inspection every quarter, and that needs to be done. She agreed to it. Like the inspection was already set before she signed the lease. Due to my mom's condition, I haven't been able to get settled in at all. Sorry to hear. I actually paid for an entire month and a half and never stayed at the residence at all because of my mom's condition and the application process. Everything seemed so sketchy, and the landlord was continuing to look at other applicants after telling me I was approved. It's been a lot. Well, newsflash. When you're a landlord, there's a difference between approving a rental application and giving a tenancy to someone. So, yes, we approved her rental application despite not fitting the bill. Her credit score was not what we wanted, right? And remind you, she dropped out of the application and she came back in with like, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. Part 1, I explained that in more details. And so we approved her application back in, and we told her, right, we operate this as a business, and in everything we do, we have it in writing, all right? So we wrote to her, okay, we are approving your application, all right? But that's it. We're not saying we're giving you the house. Okay, so the company seems like it does what it wants and really doesn't care much about the tenant's needs. So at that moment, we were like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, and this is a grown person, right? And I'm like this is like, you can't even explain due process to someone who doesn't even understand due process. It's pointless. But anyway, please let your husband know that I will let him know which day next week will work for me. I prefer you guys come after I decorate it, but doesn't sound like I have an option. Thanks. All right, nothing about this so far really alarmed us. We were kind of like, whatever, she's going through a moment. Her mom is not feeling well. Okay, fine. That's 4:28 p.m. Let's continue. 4:31 p.m., a couple minutes later. Sorry about the rant, but I'm extremely stressed. I'm really stressed out. I suffer from severe anxiety, so I literally had a panic attack when a stranger asked to inspect my home. So guys, I want to be very clear here, right? So when you have a tenant who just signed into your home, they don't have phone numbers saved onto their phone, right? And when you do due process, right? When you're renting from a company as opposed to renting from an individual, the process is different, obviously, right? If you rent from someone, let's say if this property was really under my name and if you were renting from me, maybe you save my number and all the text messages you get from me, right? But we have a system, we have a maintenance system, we have a management system. Do you understand? So yeah, the numbers are going to be from strangers. You're the tenant, right? And it's not like it's going to be like, hey, do you want to go outside tonight? Like, we're not asking stupidity. We're telling you, hey, I am the maintenance for this property. Here's when we're going to show up. She's acting like, why are you having a panic attack? Like, did you expect your mother to text? Did you expect your father to text you that we're coming to maintain? There's stranger numbers, of course, but the content of the text is what matters. That was a big red flag to me, because to me it means that she's out of touch, or there's panic. This right here means she's panicking. She's panicking because I think she realized that after all this month, she realized that she's not dealing with a regular person. She's dealing with a company. And she doesn't know what to do, because her initial plan are going to be thwarted. Her initial plan of coming in here and bullshitting her way into tenancy is not going to work. And there she panics, because this is a few minutes later. This is like 2 minutes later after saying the first text. She's like finding ways for us to cancel showing up, to cancel the inspection. No, we're coming to get the inspection. And the inspection gets super interesting. Anyway, let's continue. I could barely sleep because this management company makes me so nervous. Why? Look, you know the inspection day was at this time. We're just coming in to inspect the fucking property. Ridiculous. This had been the worst experience ever for me when it comes to moving. Okay, worst experience. The first contact you get from us is we're coming to inspect the company, but it's the worst experience. Oh no, the worst experience because we want to see your bank statements. Oh no, the worst experience because we call your references. I don't understand what her worst experience is, right? At this point, the rest of my team were like, I personally was like, oh my God, we have a fucktard. We have a deadbeat. We took a deadbeat. At that moment, I remember when I read this text, I was like, damn it, damn it, damn it. Anyway, let's continue. I never had to deal with anything like this, so I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. No, bitch. I don't fucking understand. Where the hell are you coming from? Stupid. Anyway, 4:41 p.m., like minutes later, because my sister is not responding. You know, we have a process. You know, first of all, I'm not at your beck and call to answer all of your texts, okay? My time is fucking valuable. So if you're going to bother me at work with this rant, make sure it's worthwhile. All I'm reading so far is just complaints after complaints. And it's set in stone. We have an inspection coming up. You can wiggle and fidget all you want. The inspection is going to happen. Anyway, let's continue. When I say like this, I mean how the landlord acted about my application. And I'm talking like this. It's not because I'm making fun of her, because she actually talks like this. Yes, she talks like that. She talks like that. The verification process, wanting all of my bank statements, despite me qualifying with my pay stubs. What the hell is she talking about? The process is, we need your bank statements and your pay stubs, not one or the other. Anyway, not having one designated property manager, getting text messages from people I don't know. All right. The once a month water bill, when I was told water bills come once every 3 months. You think we make up the water bill? You think the water bill is just something invented by the landlord? First of all, the tenancy the lease states that she pays utilities. So if the water bill shows up, we'll tell you it's here. I mean, if it shows up twice a week, then so be it. It's twice a week. We're not the state. We're not the, like, it really goes to show you that she, like, at this point, I've already made up my mind in my head. But the more I read, me personally, out of the team, but I was like, this woman actually never really rented before. And I was already questioning in my head the references I call, but this woman also doesn't know what life is. And I felt a moment of sadness at that moment, because I was like, you know, obviously she can't stay. I mean, obviously you don't reward bad behavior. Obviously we're going to fuck her up. But in my mind, I was like, it's such a pity. It's such a pity. Such a pity that another single black female is going to fall under the statistics. Another statistics. I felt bad that we are going to contribute to the statistics. That's what I felt bad about. Let's continue. People seeming agitated with me because I didn't text them back quick enough, and random inspections. This is all very new and very uncomfortable, and I've been renting for 16 years now. Hopefully I won't have to stay at this property another year. It's not good for my mental health, and I'm very big on the transfer of energy and how it affects me. Maybe the landlord is nervous about renting his house. If so, that energy is contagious. I mean, let's dissect that really quickly. If you've been renting for 16 years, who you been renting to? Aren't you aware of maintenance tickets? Aren't you aware of inspections? Who are you renting to? What are you surprised of water bill payments? Are you like, what about this is so surprising? You're 35 years old. Let's continue. 4:47 p.m. Then I even found out he called my previous landlord multiple times, even after I had already confirmed that I rented from her. I was advised that he called a lot, to the point that her husband ended up handling the verification. So this part right here is where my heart sank to my stomach, because I was the one who dealt with the calling the references. And I remember very well, I called 2 numbers, and there was a woman who picked up the first number, and a man picked up the second number. I didn't call multiple times. And both of them gave me the same story. And so, you know, when you make a lie, you have to remember the lie you've made. And it's been already like months since I made those phone calls. So I think she forgot. I think she may have forgot that she may have gave me the wrong information when it comes to her references. I think she gave me the cell phone number of the woman and the cell phone number of her husband, and pretended like it was 2 separate references. Because the truth of the matter is that this says it all. I called the first number. Yes, I called the woman. And I called the second number, and I guess I called the husband. And I did not call multiple times. I called 2 times. What is she talking about here? Right? Let's continue. May I ask, what's the name of his company? I'm just curious if he does this to every application and tenant, or am I being singled out? Nobody I've talked to has ever heard of anything like this. Have you ever dealt with a landlord like this one? I don't have to comment on that because it's irrelevant, right? Whether you know my company or not, it's irrelevant. You signed a contract with my company for the tenancy that you're in right now. Whether or not you know the company, all right? What difference will that make? I'm still going to make the inspection. And then she continues at 5:09 p.m. I'm a great tenant, or so I've been told. But that actually hurts. I'm going to stop doing that. But this landlord makes me so uncomfortable. I thought that was the reason that he called my previous landlord so many times, to confirm I wasn't going to destroy his house. So that word she used, destroy, because I didn't call to ask if she was going to destroy my house. That wasn't even in her head. But when she brought up that word, that was a trigger word, because I think she's done this before. And to her, it was like sending subliminal message to say, don't come to the inspection or I'm going to destroy your house. I think there was a subconscious going on here because this has been going on at least 30 minutes. She's sending text after text after we sent her the 24-hour notice, right, of the inspection. She wanted to scare us into not doing the inspection. I just don't feel good about living there. I feel like he didn't want me there in the first place. And he's trying to inconvenience me on purpose. What's the inconvenience? That I'm coming for an inspection? We talked about that. You signed the lease knowing there was going to be an... What's the inconvenience? Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, bitch. You're fucking wrong. But like I said, I've never in 16 years experienced anything like this. And neither has anyone else that I've asked. He's not the first private landlord I've rented from. I'm going to stop. But so far, he's stressed me out like no other. You know, when you're a deadbeat and you're dealing with due diligence, it's stressful. When you're a deadbeat person, you cannot handle dealing with people with due diligence. Let's continue. 5:24 p.m. This is a long-ass rant. My landlords usually don't want me to leave, but this guy, geez, and good luck finding another tenant like myself in Baltimore City. As of now, I really don't want to live there. Perfect. Leave. Ugh. And I'm taking this personally at this point. It's like, why are you acting like this towards me? I don't understand that you say many landlords behave this way, but no one I know or myself has ever heard of it. I couldn't understand why he kept calling my old landlords repeatedly. Now he wants an inspection and gives me 2 days notice while my mother is sick. She just came home Sunday and may have to go back to the hospital. I have enough going on, and the fact that he is so anxious about renting his house, it makes me literally sick, upset to my stomach, lose appetite, headaches, etc. Maybe he shouldn't do real estate because he will scare away a good tenant by just being extra. Or you should advise him of how he should deal with tenants. He had both you and your husband messaging me yesterday almost as if you didn't know each other. In my opinion, he should pick one person to manage a property at a time, or he should have told you at least schedule the inspection since I've never called or texted your husband before. It's also strange to me. I'm going to leave this text up so you can dissect this along with me. So my landlord usually don't want me to leave. Don't care. Don't care. It's my own business. It's our own business. We do things our way. I don't give a shit about your old landlord's procedures or processes. This is how we do things. Okay? All right. Now, good luck finding another tenant like myself. Good luck finding another tenant like myself in Baltimore City. Let me explain something to you. The moment you think you are irreplaceable is the moment you become shit. Everyone is replaced. Everyone is replaceable. I'm replaceable. Your mama is replaceable. You're replaceable. Everyone is replaceable. You need to have a certain level of humbleness. Okay? There are people who are smarter than me, better looking than me, people who know more than me. They are out there. So this mentality that you are God's gift to this earth is bogus, because you know what? I mean, look, we're evicting you. You're going to be out on the street, and we're going to have our property, which appreciate in value, and we're going to get another tenant in there. And we're insured. So it's like, big words for what? Quite pathetic. I understand that you say so many landlords behave this way, but no one know or myself has ever heard of it. Well, because I guess deadbeats deal with deadbeat landlords. I don't know what to say to you about that, but once again, I really don't care, you know? And the whole situation with her mom being sick, what has to do with our process? You sign the contract. You send that to the bank. You go to the bank and tell them you can't pay back your loan because your mama is sick. Are you out of your mind? This is a grown human being. Do you know what I mean? This is a 35-year-old woman with a child. Anyway, now he wants an inspection, 2 days notice. So legally, I don't have to give you notice. So out of consideration, yeah, we give you a notice. I don't have to. I can get in my property with police escort. I don't have to give you a notice. Did you know that? And she's anxious. Look, your mental health is not my responsibility. Your mental health is your responsibility. I am not in the business of charity. Maybe you were the mission, but you know what? I need to make a profit. Do you understand? I'm not here to pay your bills. This is not Section 8. This is not a charity. This is not a handout. All right? And she talks about how she's sick to her stomach, about how this process is terrible. Look, we read this whole block of tests, and number one, we laughed. And we laughed because it was bogus. And we also laughed because she threatened us, right? She doesn't want to stay there, that we're making her life miserable, that she's sick now, she can't eat, she can't sleep. Like, are you building a case against us? I mean, what are you doing? Like, at this moment, these were fighting words. At this moment, she completely shattered the image of the mission in our mind. In our mind, our rose-colored glasses were lifted. This is the moment where our business hats came back on. This is the moment where we were back in business. This is the moment where she actually lost her perceptual advantage. Let's continue. So by this point, my sister responds. And it's 5:07. And she responds. It's a process with everyone. And I've worked with other landlords who do the same thing. All rental property books, education, and experts will tell you to do the same process. Those landlords I've worked with who haven't done it have regretted it, me included. When I rented my condo, because I took a job in Boston, came back to a damaged condo, and he never paid the last 3 months of rent. The company is the address. Yes, many landlords do this because many tenants end up not paying the rent and destroying the property. Most landlords who don't have a process like this end up with irresponsible tenants who end up destroying the property and are left with thousands and thousands of dollars in damages. If you want, we can set up a time where we can answer all of your questions. Do you see that response? This is professional response. We're not buying into the emotional mess he's trying to drag us into. This is how you respond as a business to someone who is acting a fool. Due process and fact. That's it. Everything else is just emotional. It is not our responsibility to cater to your needs. It's not our responsibility to cater to your emotional needs. And also, at that moment, our rose-colored glasses were lifted. At that moment, we meant business. And at that moment, she lost her perceptual advantage. And so, yes, the process of, for part 3, the process of the inspection does take place. And that's another story for another time. I see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you liked, go ahead and press like. If you are a landlord, you dealt with a deadbeat tenant, please let me know. If you're a deadbeat tenant yourself, what the fuck are you thinking about? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like you're damaging your already poor situation. Poor meaning like your credit history situation. I mean, you don't have deadbeat tenants who have 800 credit score. Very, very, very rare, right? Actually, it doesn't exist. But if you are out there and you are what this person is, if you're a Christina, I'm not giving her last name. I don't want to be sued. But if you are a Christina, what the hell are you thinking? What the hell are you thinking? That's it. See you at part 3. Thank you.